has just become something that allows me to take my mind off of whatever I'm doing or whatever is stressing me out, and just create space for me to imagine other stuff, to think about other things, to read other stories, and to also rest my body. You know, I love to sit on this couch and read, and you know, when the sun is coming through, it just feels really good to be in such a relaxed state, but to still be using my mind in a different way, you know? I read everything. Well, first of all, I love to read magazines, periodicals. I feel like I'm as much of like a book person as I am like a magazine person. So I like to read everything, honestly, from like memoirs, very anecdotal books, to like indie magazines, to like fiction. I honestly started to really use cannabis for self-care once I got out here in LA, if I'm being honest. You know, just living in a state where it's legal, you can go to a dispensary to pick it up, like obviously is something that is going to influence your life. And so I felt that cannabis used to always be a social thing for me, living in New York, and really wherever I lived, but coming here, and particularly over the pandemic, is when cannabis really became something for me that just helped to decrease my stress, but also was just a time for me to also set aside for myself as well, you know, just taking that concerted effort to do something for myself. Yeah, it's more of the relaxation for me. And I actually think that something with cannabis is that I think it's very easy to use cannabis as a crutch. I think it's very easy to use cannabis as a coping mechanism sometimes within your life. And I think that a part of what I have had to figure out with cannabis is like what's the mode and the function for it, and the intentionality behind why I'm doing it. And I think that all of those things have actually helped to empower me and to made me feel really good about who I am and why I use it. And I think like that is a part of self-care to me, like figuring that out in that process and feeling good about that. I really like to use it to wind down, and I like to use it in social settings too. I like to smoke like at the end of the night, but I also like to smoke like when I'm with friends, you know, just having a good conversation, so. I love to go for walks during the middle of the day, whether they're 15-minute walks or 5-minute walks. I feel that for me, self-care is really about these radical acts that you do for yourself during the middle of the day. It's not just in the morning, it's not just at night. It's these little, I call them acts of rebellion, because I just feel like we haven't grown up in this world that has supported breaks, where it supports rest, where it supports naps. After a meeting or after I finish answering some emails, I will go and take a walk. I will break away from what I'm doing and then arrive back at it, because to me, in fact, all of these things are helping my productivity. I feel that so much of how I approach beauty has also been a case study in and of itself for myself. And I think that it's been an ultimate test around what my values are, what I truly care about, and how I want to serve my community. And I mean my community in the sense of people who follow me, people who read my work, people who live in LA but also live in different parts of the world as well. And I've really tried to take the approach of the products are the byproduct. And one of the reasons I think why I do that is just because it's my passion. Like my true passion is people. My true passion is interviewing, having conversations with people. And so I think that beauty is the medium and the mode in which I approach it, because I think that our practices within beauty say a lot about us. I feel that a lot of my job is pulling in stories, whether they are on a beauty site or not, that truly intersect with beauty, but it may not be apparent initially, whether it has to do with the Crown Act, which is all around making race-based hair discrimination illegal, or does it have to do with Naomi Osaka deciding that she does not want to do this press conference, or Simone Biles decides that, you know, she is not in a state where she wants to compete I define beauty, of beauty being about choice, agency, taking care of yourself, and also really thinking about like where you decide to show up and how you decide to show up. That happens to me all the time, I feel, where especially if I'm talking about us as people and us really knowing that we have more power than what I think capitalism, other big brands, and marketing really kind of allow us to think that we do. Like, I think that there has been so much emphasis around just how to sell things, right? Like we obviously live in a capitalist society, that I think that I get very passionate when I see possibilities for us to speak out on how we really feel. There is so much bravery around when people really decide to show up as themselves, and how, you know, the makeup is just the medium, right? It's really about who they are. And so I definitely get emotional if I talk about it, if I cover it, because I want other people to feel it too, you know? People know me, and I am a writer, I'm a reporter, I'm a journalist. I think I'm all those things. I'm a culture writer, and I think that I have packaged myself in a way that is initially very digestible to people, in the sense of, okay, you get that Darian covers beauty, XYZ. People get and understand that. But I think that I am so expansive, and what I want to do is so beyond just writing for digital publications. I think that there's so many different ways to communicate, to foster community, to gather other people for conversation. And I think that I'm really honestly looking to move into a place in my life where, yes, I am a writer, and those are where my skills are, and that's what I'll always do. But also, like, people can see me as more than that, in a way of honestly more of like an artist and a creative, where it's, again, like the writing is the medium, beauty is the topic of conversation, but I can show up in a variety of ways and it still makes sense. So that's what I'm really striving for right now. Definitely stigma, especially as a Black woman. I still find that I have to really think about what I view, or what I have been fed as like pristine and proper and presentable and acceptable, in terms of like how I walk out the house. You know, what does my hair look like? Is it acceptable for where I'm going? Do I have on too much makeup, too little makeup? What shoes do I have on? Am I underdressed? Am I overdressed? Like, what are people gonna think of me in this moment, in this environment where I may be one of very few Black people of color there? I think that that's something that I have a lot more confidence around, but am still always like catching myself in these little moments, just as I'm trying to make sure that I'm even carrying myself in the way that I want other people to view me, you know? I feel most at peace when I am just a few blocks away from my apartment in front of the beach. Ooh, I feel my body tense up when emails come through. Boba tea. My body language says that I am someone who has it together like 50% of the time, but I hope that my body language can show that I'm an approachable person, and that I really like to talk to people. I have learned to speak my mind almost immediately without interrupting others. I feel that I've become a lot better about communicating how I feel in a way that is both respectful but clear, and because that's what I want in return to me. Like, to me, I want to know the truth. I want to know how people feel.